You are listening to the New Book of Daniel podcast. Hello and welcome to the New Book of Daniel podcast. My name is Daniel Bobinski. I'll be your host on this adventure. Today I want to talk about this article I wrote at Uncover DC called Predictions for How 2020 Comes to an End. And the reason I have to do this is if I don't do it now, it's going to look like, well, Bobinski, you're just reading the news. I wrote this column on September 16th. It's already now the 28th of September. And some of my predictions have already come to pass. That's why I say if I don't do it now, it's going to be like, hey, Bobinski, you're just reading the news. We are at a crossroads in America. I believe that we are dealing with a revolutionary war. People say we're getting involved in a civil war. I disagree. This is a revolutionary war. We have a Marxist insurrection trying to overthrow the constitutional form of government. And they're attacking it from multiple angles. You can learn more about this in an upcoming book I've got coming out, working on it. It's almost done, called The Scorched Earth War Against Trump, America, and Liberty. That's the working title. I don't know if it's going to end up being that, but that's the working title. But we have these multiple faceted attacks coming at us from multiple angles as they try to tear apart our constitutional form of government. Patriots need to stand up and recognize it for what it is and not get tired, because guess what? We're in a war. You cannot rest on your laurels. I actually had an inkling this was going to happen back in January. If you go to my blog, and I linked to this in my column, by the way, at Uncover DC. If you go to my blog, you will see a column, a blog post. Globalists don't care if there's bloodshed in America. They don't. They just want to get their way. And then in March, I wrote a column at Uncover DC titled The Scorched Earth War Against Trump, and talked about how they're using multiple angles, and they were especially at the time using the COVID scare, which we now know to be a scandemic. This is unbelievably asinine what we're going through with this. But anyways, all that to say, I told you so. If it sounds like I'm saying I told you so, it's because I told you so. So let me jump into these 7 predictions so that at the end of the year, I'm going to say, see, I told you so. I'm hoping that some of them end up being wrong. I'm hoping that we'll get there at the end. But prediction number 1 is that Trump is going to win in the landslide. You just need to look around. Look at the Trump boat parades. Look at the Trump caravans on the freeways. You got multiple lanes on a freeway filled up with people driving with Trump flags and American flags. There's just too much enthusiasm that we see on the Trump side of the ticket, and I see none of that on the Biden side of the ticket. The closest we came, I think, was they tried to get a caravan going in Las Vegas, and 30 cars showed up, or 30 people. They said 30 people showed up. It wasn't 30 cars. 30 people showed up for it. You see, I just saw a video of Jill Biden having a rally. I think there were more Secret Service people there than there were attendees. You just don't have the enthusiasm. And that's going to play out in the ballot box. I think you're going to see a replay of 1984 with Ronald Reagan stomping on Walter Mondale. Reagan ended up getting 525 electoral votes. I'm not sure if it's going to be that much for Trump, but I think you're going to see a huge landslide for Trump in the LN. But prediction number 2 is that on the evening of November 3rd, Biden is not going to concede. Even if there is a clear winner, they're going to say, well, we've got these states out there that are still collecting ballots. So it might be, and depending on how the Electoral College is playing out, it might be that, Biden still wins. So we need to wait for all these ballots to come in on vote by mail. So how do we know that? Well, they've already told us that Clinton has already told Biden, don't concede. So he's not going to concede. Prediction number 3. Massive voter fraud. And this is why I said I need to get this podcast done, because that's already happened. I think what we saw with the Project Veritas video, if you haven't seen that, go online and look that up. That's pretty easy to find. And they are massively stealing votes in Minnesota. You're going to see that. And I think that's just the tip of the iceberg. I think there's massive voter fraud efforts in place because nobody calls them on it. even if you do get caught, it takes years for this stuff to get going through the court system. So there is no quick and down and dirty solution to it. They're going to drag this out, and that is their plan. They want to drag it out. Let's go to prediction number 4. Because of that massive voter fraud, they're not going to want to call an election. Zuckerberg over at Facebook and Jack Dorsey over at Twitter have already said that they're going to flag any tweet or any post that comes out calling Trump the winner. I did find it curious, and you should too, that they didn't say that they're going to flag any post that calls Biden the winner. They said anything that calls Trump the winner, they're going to flag. That seems kind of one-sided if you ask me. But to me, it also says that they know that there's a voter fraud effort in place and they are covering up for it. Zuckerberg, we've got a video of him, and I linked to it in the column, saying that we should expect the results to take days or even weeks. He knows that there's going to be this massive obfuscation. Prediction number 5. The Marxists are going to try to keep the facade up at least until December 14th, which is when the Electoral College meets to cast the official votes for who's the president. They're going to try and obfuscate left and right. Some states, you're going to see some states even trying to obfuscate. If they can't keep up their facade with all the voter fraud stuff, you're going to see governors, probably Newsom, probably Northam, probably Cuomo, all saying, well, wait a minute, we haven't counted all the votes yet. Votes are going to start showing up out of nowhere. It's going to be like the 1960 election with Nixon and Kennedy. Magically, at 3 o'clock in the morning, just enough votes showed up in Chicago to put Kennedy over the top in Illinois, which threw Illinois to Kennedy, and he won the presidency. I think you're going to see that kind of action going on. If they can't do it in the votes, I think the governors are going to see it. Prediction number 6, Nancy Pelosi is going to act very patriotic. Prepare for that. She's going to be saying, we need to follow the Constitution. We need to make sure that every vote counts. She is among the vanguard in Congress. She's among the Marxist vanguard, the elites, who are trying to push for this Marxist agenda. You're also going to see, like I said, Marxist governors making noise, but that's also going to see prediction number 7, a lot of the street Marxists making noise. The BLM people, the Antifa people, they've got violence been going on. We're kind of getting used to it, aren't we? I think it's going to amp up the closer we get to the election. And a lot of folks think that come November 4th, all that's going to go away, right? I predict that's going to actually amplify. You're going to see more violence. You're going to see more people protesting. They're going to try to get the, I call it the suburban soccer mom, to go, wait a minute, please stop. Stop the violence. Just call whatever it takes, whoever, just name a president so all this violence stops. Antifa, BLM has already said they're going to go to the suburbs. I think we're going to see that happen. I think you also have the possibility, or likelihood, I should say, of people who've been arming themselves and stocking up on ammunition, because if you've gone into any like Cabela's, you walk past their ammunition shelves and they're empty. Everybody's stocking up. I don't think that soccer mom is going to sit by silently and just hope it all goes away. They're going to want it to go away, but I think you're going to see a lot more violence in America than you've seen in your lifetime. So that's prediction number 7. The puppet masters like George Soros are funding all these things. And if you think I'm joking, well, just go to my stuff over at uncoverdc.com and do a search for my name and also for George Soros's name, and you can see how he runs his shell games. I used to roll my eyes every time I would see George Soros's name. But I did a little investigation, and I wrote about it at Uncover DC. And the guy is evil, and he funds evil, and he has no conscience. So those are my predictions. Hopefully, I really do think you're going to see all that come to play. Hopefully, it doesn't. In the end, I also predict that Trump will come to be the victor. I think Nancy Pelosi is going to push real hard. Also, by the way, there's one of my predictions that she's going to push and push and push that Congress gets to decide who gets to be the president. And in fact, just today, we saw that happen. That wasn't my predictions. I don't think I read it, but it wasn't my predictions that she's going to push that the Congress, House of Representatives gets to decide the president. That is how the Constitution works. They're going to try to obfuscate all the way through. And I think in the end, you're going to see Trump prevail. So let's hope I'm wrong. Let's hope that there's an overwhelming Trump victory on November 4th. We wake up and it's just impossible despite all the voter fraud. But we'll see. What to do in the meantime? One more thing. Stock up. Yeah, we are in a war, folks. Stock up. Prepare for your family. Stock up on non-perishables. Stock up on your toilet paper. Stock up on your dog food and your cat food and your bird seed and whatever it is you need to do. But be prepared for the stores to be closed. Be prepared for curfews and those kind of things. So with that, if you have any questions or comments, you can reach me at newbookofdaniel@outlook.com. If you have your own predictions, feel free to put them in the comments down below. You can also find me over on Twitter at New Book of Daniel. I'm also on Parler and MeWe, also at New Book of Daniel. You can find me where else? Find my written work over at uncoverdc.com. And I also contribute to Red State. You can find me over there. Of course, you'll want to subscribe to this channel so that you can get notified when we put up new videos. Just click that little subscribe button, click the bell to get notified, and we'll catch you guys on the next podcast. This is Daniel Bobinski. This has been the New Book of Daniel show. I thank you for listening. Catch you until the next time. Until then, be blessed.